The first-person shooter genre was changed forever just a short 20 years ago. Trust me, I can't believe it's been that long either. The original Call of Duty first hit PCs in 2003, and since then, every Call of Duty game has been trying to one-up the last. Now, after 20 years and the 20th mainline release, Call of Duty hit the wall. Many series veterans would argue, in many ways correctly, that COD hit the wall years ago. Activision hasn't cared about the game or players in years, and the studios are suffering for it, while raking in millions and millions of dollars. It's the same with every other studio under Activision. The gaming scene has marked their target, Bobby Kotick, and begrudgingly hope for the next Call of Duty or World of Warcraft expansion or Guitar Hero or Tony Hawk game to be just a good game and not a lackluster cluster broken and full of issues at full retail price on day one. Every time, gamers are disappointed, but with the $69 billion acquisition of Activision-Blizzard-King by Microsoft and the promise that Bobby is on his way out, that hope feels real for the first time. While all of this has been in the news, it got the players of these games excited again for the first time in many years, and the hype for Modern Warfare 3 was bigger than many previous titles. The players were wrong. Bobby has still been in charge, and Activision is still up to their old tricks with this incarnation of the beloved franchise. With a game that even operates like a DLC for the last year's Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and with many parts of this game being pulled out of storage with a new coat of paint and nothing more, and having more in common with 2009's Modern Warfare 2 than 2011's Modern Warfare 3, this game does not feel like a complete package. But it is still sold for full retail price, with a more expensive edition costing $100 US. It is the single worst reviewed game in the franchise as well. But is there still hope for the future, or was this the final round in the chamber for Call of Duty? Let's suit up and check those corners in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3's loop. Playing Call of Duty is playing Call of Duty. I'm not going to waste my time or yours on some long diatribe about how this game or that game revolutionized the series and the genre. The game's been mostly the same for the last decade plus. The movement may be slightly different to the highest end players, the time to kill may vary, the anti-cheat flat out doesn't work 75% of the time, and people are sweating about their matches and kill averages in casuals and CDL matches alike. For many of those points, that's the beauty of it, and the reason that people come back year after year for the new COD like they do for Madden or NBA. It's the same game every time. It's the same logic behind why McDonald's does so well. You know what you're getting every time, and you see the golden arches. There's no real guesswork there. Activision has done a good job with the gameplay here. You unlock weapons and their attachments and everything else for your loadouts in a slightly less convoluted way than the last iteration, though not by that much. The movement of the characters feels less bulky and awkward than Modern Warfare 2 as well. Overall, the game feels like Call of Duty again, but there will always be people that nitpick, especially at the high level. There were plenty of issues with the last 4 or so Call of Duty games, and Activision, as well as Infinity Ward, Treyarch, Sledgehammer Games, Ravensoft, and every other studio that has had their hands on one of these games has done little in the realm of fixing it, besides promises for the next game or a patch here or there for some of the major issues. I'll give them credit, they stick to their guns. But it's not always for the best. The gameplay of most of these first-person shooters hasn't vastly changed since Call of Duty 4 in 2007, but the minor changes that are implemented have a major ripple effect on the community, and when the COD community is mad, the industry feels it. I was actually surprised by some of the changes in the multiplayer lobbies of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. I wasn't surprised to jump into my first match and hear 2 people echoing their TVs into their mics and at least one person calling everyone slurs. That's more of a player-based issue than anything else, so I'll let Activision slide on this one, though they have implemented new AI software to weed out some of the bad actors. The matches themselves feel like COD and not some amalgamation of Apex Legends and Halo. There, I said it. The game feels good. I wish it wasn't an inbred love child of 2 different games called Modern Warfare 2, but this is the $70 bowl of gruel that Activision graced us with, so don't bite the hand that feeds. If you couldn't tell by now, I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated with a game series that I actually enjoy, and the out-of-left-field decisions that dragged it kicking and screaming from Activision, with all of the love of a stepmother that's younger than you, to our homes to stare at it unblinking for hours and hours like a Bible in a convent. With all the talk over the last year about Call of Duty and Activision, I really wanted things to be better. Every time I play the game, I have my fun, but the hollow dead look of a reanimated corpse of a 14-year-old game bugs me every time. Modern Warfare 2 had some great maps. It birthed the entire meme of 1v1 me on Rust Bro, and it was the heyday for quickscopes and trick shots. But the logical loops you would have to jump through to put all of that into a game that's supposed to be a remake of Modern Warfare 3 and add not a single new map or anything from the original Modern Warfare 3 is just mind-blowing. There are some fun and interesting things in the multiplayer. The new 3v3 mode Cutthroat, for instance, has been a really fun time for a smaller squad. Leveling up to 55 in multiplayer in general has felt fun, even if there is nothing beyond it until next season. I wish I didn't get absolutely bodied sometimes, but I enjoy the time I spend here. The movement feels good, slide canceling feels good, and generally getting around maps feels quick and responsive, but it doesn't really break new ground in this series. Dolphin diving and drop shotting are still just as annoying or rewarding as they always have been. Now there are just more options for people running around the maps to quickscope other players and tell them they should just uninstall the game. Speaking of, the time to kill probably feels the best it has in a long time. Cold War was a little short. Modern Warfare 2 was a little long. This feels respectable. Jumping into hardcore ruins that feeling completely, but that's kind of the point of hardcore. Overall, and once again, it's COD at its standard. We're going to continue down this list from the best parts, and I use that term very loosely, to the worst parts, and somehow Modern Warfare's zombies isn't the worst part. After completely dismantling the zombies formula and shoehorning in the DMZ mode from Modern Warfare 2, zombies is both the newest change to the COD formula and one of the most offensive. It's the gaming equivalent of New Coke. This is not the same great taste. I spent my Thanksgiving attempting to decipher the incoherent babblings of the mission system in this game and trying to understand how this could still be called a COD Zombies mode, only to be left googling all of the things that the game doesn't explain. Pack-a-Punch does what now? What does the mystery box do? What happened to all the guns I exfilled? Why does everything suck again? There were some fun moments running around with friends and stumbling into places we absolutely should not have been, but the convoluted systems, the backwards missions, and the complete lack of anything that made COD Zombies great in the first place makes me question why this was even a zombies mode in the first place. My guess is DMZ did so poorly and the assets and tech were so expensive to build that the decision came down the chain to drop in some zombies assets and ship it again with the hopes that players would love the "we have Tarkov at home" game mode the second time. Somehow though, there were still some fun times, and the fact that I can even say that astounds me. Blasting through a zombie-infested house with narrow hallways and no escape was the only thing that felt like zombies in this whole experience, and even getting down and watching my partner run around doing his best until he was also down got a laugh out of me. One of the coolest parts of this versus DMZ is the ability to call out for help from other players. With it being an exfil game mode, there are other players running around the massive map as well, and if things go sideways, a ping and a quick message to the lobby can help turn things around, and sometimes even get you new party members that may know a thing or two about what you're attempting to do. Meeting up with random strangers in lobbies and working to a common goal is kind of the whole point of online games, and this is one of the better experiences I've had outside of the MMO genre. The prize for the most disappointing section of this game goes to its campaign. Shocker, I know. A Call of Duty campaign wasn't very good. Look, maybe they were right to kill the campaigns when they tried 2 years ago. If this is what it's going to lead to, I would have liked to give it an honorable send-off instead of, well, this. They would have had a riot on their hands, and they kind of did, if they continued to charge full price without it though. The Modern Warfare 3 campaign, a 4 to 6 hour monstrosity of half-baked, rushed asset flips attempting to wrap up a modern remake of a beloved gaming story. I don't even think what CD Projekt Red delivered with Cyberpunk's initial launch was as misguided and falsely advertised as this was. The fact that they advertised and marketed an exclusive early access window for it makes me think that some C-level executive really thought that players would love this campaign. Never mind that they never played it and probably haven't touched a controller in their entire lives. I mean absolutely no shade or shots at the devs on this either. The stories that broke about them having next to no time to actually develop or produce a good product speaks volumes. This entire package should have been DLC. The campaign itself played fine, though it had an identity crisis that could go blow for blow with Fight Club's narrator. Shock value and cutscenes are the name of the game, as playing DMZ on rails is the actual gameplay for most of the missions. Little direction, little focus, and many moments feeling like I'm playing Metal Gear Solid and Mirror's Edge all at the same time. The story itself isn't the worst thing in the world. It tells what it needs to, and it wraps up what it needs to wrap up. The campaign itself feels more like a tech demo than anything else, and for being so late in the console lifecycle that mid-cycle refresh has already happened, the time for tech demos is no longer. One particular issue I have with Modern Warfare 3 is probably an early release issue more than it is a full game issue, and that's carry forward. Carry forward is a new feature that allows players to bring existing unlocks from Modern Warfare 2 into Modern Warfare 3. All in, this sounds like a fantastic feature to have in Call of Duty. It allows money and time spent in the game to continue into the future. Here lies the issue. There was never a flat starting position for players of the new game. If you spent little or no time in Modern Warfare 2 and wanted to jump into 3 for whatever reason, you can, but you're playing against other players with fully leveled and maxed out weapons and unlocks with altered stats that they've been playing with for over a year. It's kind of an awkward state to be in if you want to level the new weapons in the first few days and you're constantly getting beat down by players in a brand new game with old weapons and no real starting position. Now this won't matter in a few weeks as people play and level up new weapons, but if leveling the new stuff and unlocking everything is what you hope to do, you may be struggling for some time to get those unlocks. I would have liked to see a time limit on this, but the unfortunate truth is that it really wouldn't be possible for one key reason: the Battle Pass. The new season of the Battle Pass doesn't start when the game is launched, so players from Modern Warfare 2 still have the opportunity to unlock content from that game while playing the new one. The bundles and passes that you have from the old game carry forward into the new, and the new Battle Pass doesn't start until the first week of December, 4 weeks after Modern Warfare 3 release. What's more, all the skins and the issues they may have transfer over to the new content as well, meaning some of the ridiculous skins that have been instituted in Modern Warfare 2 move over and cause the same issues in the new game that they did in the old. Players took pretty quick advantage of this system, and why wouldn't they? The old guns are fully set up. Why would they spend time doing anything with new stuff? The old skins may have advantages by being harder to see or fight against. I should use those now for some quick levels. It really just caused a headache in the first few weeks. I like the idea overall, the implementation was just not the best it could have been. And that last sentence is kind of my whole issue with Modern Warfare 3. The implementation of a lot of the features and functions of this game just feels half-baked. The timing of the seasons, the battle passes, and the release window make less sense when the new game content doesn't start for 4 weeks. The maps are all from a 14-year-old game that isn't even the game that is supposed to be a remake of. Carry Forward felt bad for the first couple weeks when trying to play with the new weapons and perks. It all just felt bad. Zombies completely nuking the formula that made it fun in the first place feels terrible. Skins in this game just feel like they are trying to be Fortnite with collaborations that don't make sense in what is supposed to be a more serious game. Nicki Minaj and 21 Savage running around Rust in 2023 fighting against Spawn in a hard-to-see tree man sounds like a fever dream more than the reality of a Call of Duty game. I have a feeling if you would have told the devs from the original game that this would happen, they would have been shocked and appalled at what they created. On top of all of that, some of the little things they added to this game just feel off, like the tactical stance, a new aim down sights option that completely negates the sights that you put on the weapon in the first place. All of this wrapped up into the astronomical file size for the game at a staggering 234 gigabytes, meaning it takes up just over 1/3 of usable storage on a bone stock PlayStation 5. For what? And I think that's kind of the question that a lot of people are asking about a lot of parts of this game. 234 gigs? For what? $70? For what? All maps from 14 years ago? For what? It's super annoying and honestly just a bad taste in the mouths of players and fans. All of that said, I still have faith, and it's up to Activision and Microsoft to prove me wrong, or right. Faith that this might be the last of the Kotick era finance first, players last mentality. Faith that this could be the last Call of Duty that has to feel bland and lifeless. Faith that the next game will make up for these mistakes. That last one is the one I really have high hopes for. I'm going to do something I haven't done previously here. I'm going to talk to the finance and dev teams directly. If you want this game to be a live service game, just do it already. Stop with the half-assed attempts at putting out a new COD that doesn't live up to what your players want and promise that things will be fixed later. Stop trying to play on our nostalgia for these titles of old and put out something new and exciting. You would make so many of your players and probably your devs happier if you stop with the every year updates that have 6 games in one. Put out a single player campaign with a couple new weapons, attachments, and an operator for $30 every year. If players find the value in that and want that experience, they'll buy it. Do the same with a zombies pack. Warzone bundles and multiplayer bundles are fine as they are. Line things up with a game release and a season or battle pass and just put 10 seconds of thought into what you're charging for. $70 for this is a disgrace. I'm one of the poor suckers that's excited that Microsoft took over Activision-Blizzard-King, and I hope that all the games that I love, like Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, Diablo, and so many more, all have a chance to live in the future. Time will tell if this buyout was great for gamers or only great for the executives.